As 2023 comes to a close, I want to just take a second and thank all of you for stopping by the channel at any point this year. The likes, the comments, the subscriptions, the comments most importantly are the lifeblood of this channel, and I really appreciate all of you taking the time to stop by and hang out and talk about books with me. If I had any goals for the channel this year, I certainly surpassed all of them. It's not hyperbole for me to say that my interactions with all of you and talking about great books has truly enriched my life, so thank you. So we'll roll the intro, and then we'll talk about a few channel changes, and then talk about everything I'm going to be reading this winter. First of all, sorry about my voice. I'm just on the good side of coming through a head and chest cold, and it's still lingering a little bit, so hopefully I won't have a coughing fit in the middle of this video, but I did want to get this video out before the end of the year. I want to talk first about a couple changes that I'll be employing on the channel. I've been giving serious thought the last few weeks about the channel and what I want to do with it and where I want it to go. And frankly, I hadn't thought about these things much at all until recently. The channel was born out of two desires for me. One was I wanted to have something tangible to show that I did coming out of the pandemic. And the second reason is I had kind of a creative void in my life. At the time that I started the channel, instead of conducting orchestras, which is what I do for a living, I was stuck teaching online music, and it just had me in this creative void that it was not enjoyable. So I was trying to find this creative outlet, and I was unable to make music with other people. So I'd been watching a lot of BookTube, and I thought, well, maybe I'll make a few videos. And that was the whole genesis of the channel. I thought I'd do this for a few months. And then as the channel started to grow, as I started to really value the interaction with the people that were watching the videos, and as I more importantly got involved in the community and getting to know a lot of other content creators, I realized that I wanted to remain a part of this community. So I kept, putting more into the channel. And it has grown tremendously. The fact that we're coming up on potentially hitting 5,000 subscribers just blows my mind. Well, I did all this, and I really didn't have a thought or a goal about what I wanted the channel to be. And I started thinking about that. And although I still don't have kind of that pie in the sky ultimate goal, this is what I want Red Fury Books to look like, I do have a few ideas going forward, and it's going to have a little effect on some of the videos that I put out for you. First of all, I do like putting out a video a week, and I'm going to try to keep that schedule. I think that's a good balance for me, for making this still just feel like a hobby and giving you enough content that we can get those great interactions each weekend. So that's probably not going to change, but some of the video content itself is likely going to change. I started thinking about the videos that I enjoy most and the videos I enjoy least producing. And I'm obviously going to make more of the ones I enjoy more and less of the ones I enjoy least. So basically the ones I like most, I like the videos that have legs. The videos that weeks, months, years, for some of them later, people still come back and watch and comment. I love when one of my older videos, especially individual book reviews, when people comment and we can talk about the book or books on those videos. So those are the kinds of videos I'm enjoying most. So we're probably going to see a lot of those. You're going to see top 10 lists, people like those. Ranking lists work really, really well. Reading advice, individual book reviews. Now, if I put out more individual book reviews, the channel numbers will plummet because those don't initially do very well on BookTube, but I'm not concerned about that at this point because that's just what I feel creatively is something that I want to do a bit more of. So look for more individual book reviews and more dual book reviews. I kind of like those formats for both of those. So that's one thing that you'll expect a little bit more of this year. So on the flip side, some of the things that you'll see less are some of the videos that kind of have that 36-hour to 48-hour shelf life. Unfortunately, those are a lot of the typical BookTube staples that everybody loves. TBRs, wrap-ups, book hauls, tag videos, those kinds of things. Now, I am going to continue my monthly wrap-ups. I really love doing those. but I'm going to try to make them in a manner that perhaps there will be more viewers later. So maybe putting more of the titles in the descriptions or more of the books on the thumbnails. I'm not quite certain with that, but I do enjoy shooting those monthly wrap-ups and talking about all the books I read each month. So those are not going to change. Obviously, from the title of today's video, my TBRs are going to change. I'm not going to do a monthly TBR anymore. I'm going to do a seasonal one. And I like doing these, and a lot of you in comment section have told me that you always like to see what I'm going to read because sometimes you like to read along with me. So this way I can still provide that service for those of you that might want to read some of the books with me if I don't have an official read along or something like that. So you will see a quarterly TBR. So once I start actually talking about those books in this video, you'll see about 20 books that I'll be talking about reading over the next few months. Two of the videos that are going to kind of fall by the wayside, two of the kinds of videos I should say, book hauls. I'm probably going to do one more just because I have a huge stack of books and I do want to show some of the special editions to some of you. I won't say that they'll go away entirely, but I'm not going to do a quarterly book haul or anything like that like I had originally planned on doing. And the other thing is tag videos. Unless I feel very compelled to do a certain tag video, I probably won't shoot those either. What will allow by reducing the TBRs and the tags and the book hauls is just simply more space in the schedule to kind of shoot the videos that I'm just more interested in filming right now, the ones that might last a little bit longer in its YouTube life. And even if some of the individual book reviews and things like that cause the numbers of the channel to go down, I'm not concerned about that because this channel has already exceeded my expectations as far as where I thought it could potentially go. So that was a long-winded explanation, but let's go ahead and talk about the books that I plan on reading this winter. Now, I have them in three categories. I have the definites, and then I have a category of probablys, and then just some maybes at the end. The definites you can plan on. I will read these 11 books that are definites. The probablys, maybe 75% chance. The maybes, probably a coin flip. I'm just kind of guessing with those. I do have a structure with some of these because some of these are buddy reads, and I'll generally try to tell you, especially on the definites, when I plan on reading them. One definite is a holdover from December. I was traveling a lot, and I was around family, and I didn't read as much as I normally do, so I didn't get to read Nicholas Raven and the Wizard's Web Volume 1 by Thomas J. Prostopnik, so I will definitely be reading that. I have that penciled in March, but if I get ahead of things, I might get to it potentially in February. The next definites on the TBR for this winter is the big book series to start the year, and that is The Five Warrior Angels by Brian Lee Durfee. Now, this is going to be part of a read-along, and the read-along consists of myself, Matt from Go Read Books, John from Talking Story, Ben from Books with Benghis Khan, Usan from Bards and Books, and then Bert from Bert's Library. I don't think Bert has a channel, but he's active on Twitter. And the six of us are going to read these one per month. So we'll be reading The Forgetting Moon in January, The Blackest Heart in February, and The Lonesome Crown in March. And we'll be having discussions after each one of these books on my channel, so you can look forward to that. I've also linked all their channels below, so please go check out their content and subscribe to them if you don't already. I really look forward to this read-along that we're doing, and thank you, John. I think John is the impetus behind scheduling all of this together, so I'm really excited to read those books. Now, side by side with these, some more definites for this winter is going to be Dennis Lehane's Joe Coughlin trilogy, which consists of 3 books, The Given Day, Live by Night, and World Gone By. Dennis Lehane is one of my favorite authors of crime fiction, and this is crime fiction and historical fiction. It's set in Boston around World War I, and I've heard just fantastic things about this. I'm kind of nearing the end of reading everything by Lehane. After this trilogy, I'll be down to just his latest book, so I am excited to read this. This will provide a great contrast. Durfee's books are huge, and Lehane's books, although the first one's pretty big, they're always pretty fast reads, and they'll be a great contrast that I'll read side by side. I will be starting the series right away in January. Whether I spread them out over 3 months or read them faster, only time will tell. Next 2 books are a couple of buddy reads. I'm going to be reading I, Claudius in January, and there's a few of us that are reading this together, including Alan from the Library of Alexandria, Kyle from Read by Kyle, and Laura from Fantasy Awash. Now, I've been excited to read I, Claudius for quite some time. specifically since I posted my top 10 works of historical fiction that I've read, and a lot of people talked about this book and said that this is one that would definitely be on that list had I read it. So I'm very excited to finally read this one, and I'm excited to read it with those three individuals because they're pretty much historians compared to me, and I don't know anything about this era. So I'm going in totally blind. It'll be interesting, my perspective in comparison to three people that know a lot about ancient Rome. So I'm looking forward to reading I, Claudius in January. Another buddy read, and this one's with Kyle and Alan as well. This is Gai Jin by James Clavell. This is the third installment in the Asian saga, and this one's a chunker. I'm reading this one in February. I'm really excited to get back into this one. I love these works of historical fiction that often have the themes of East versus West and great characters and great plotting. And kind of a unique experience for me is I plan on reading Gai Jin while I'm in Japan in February. And it's set in Japan. And Gaijin is the term in Japanese for foreigner. So I will be a foreigner in Japan reading Gaijin, which is set in Japan. So that'll be kind of cool. I am reading that in February, and I'm sure we'll have a discussion on Alan's channel when we get done with this one. But I'm really looking forward to this. It's probably one of my most anticipated reads of the year. Last two definites are the results of some viewer polls. I asked you to pick a fantasy book for me that's a standalone, and you picked Sorcerer's Legacy by Janny Wurts. I almost put To Ride Hell's Chasm on that poll, but I decided I'd want to read all of her works chronologically as best as I can. Now, I do own To Ride Hell's Chasm, so maybe I'll jump in early, but I wanted to start where it starts with Sorcerer's Legacy, and I'm really excited to read this one, and I was very excited that all of you picked this one for me. The other viewer poll is I said pick a nonfiction work for me to read early this year, and the first nonfiction book that I will read this year is The Beautiful Ones by Prince. This is a memoir he was writing when he passed away. I've always just been a huge fan of Prince. He's one of the best musicians that we've had in our generation, and I'm just excited to read some of his writing. All right, let's go on to the probablys. I'm going to have to consult my notes here because the top 11 I had in my head, these last 9 I'm not sure. But the probablys, there's a lot of shorter works here because you notice we had some chunkers. All those Durfee books, Gaijin, I mean, some really, really big books that I plan on reading this first quarter. So some of these probablys are shorter books that I know will help kind of the book count, but also help break things up where I'm not reading one chunker right after another. The first one I have on the list is Conan the Unconquered by Robert Jordan. This, of course, is part of the omnibus collection of the Robert Jordan Conan Chronicles, and this is the third one by him that I'll have read. I have 6 of his 7 books, and I look forward to reading a few of these this year. Another one I probably plan on reading is Necro by C.M. Tuttle, and this is a self-published work, and the author sent this to me over a year ago, and I'm finally going to get to it this quarter. At least probably, but it's pretty short. It looks like it's a quick read. It looks like a good palate cleanser. There's not a lot of sci-fi on this list, so I'll probably be itching for some sci-fi, and this will be the first one that I pick up. 2 things that I often read side by side with my main book is I often have a short story collection going and an audiobook going. Well, the next short story collection that I'll be reading is Dragonlance Tales Volume 2, which is called Kender, Gully Dwarves, and Gnomes. Not the greatest title, but I did enjoy Volume 1, called The Magic of Krynn, which I'll talk about in my next wrap-up, and I look forward to this next short story collection. The audiobook that I'll be starting is Summer Night by Jim Butcher, which is the 4th book in the Dresden Files. I've heard fantastic things about these audiobooks, that James Marsters is just fantastic, and since these are first-person narratives by Harry Dresden, I really look forward to checking out Summer Night in this format. Another short one I have is a collaboration between Jim Butcher and John Simons and a bunch of other authors called The Collected Rinthcon 2023, and this looks like it's almost like a web serial where one author would write a little bit and then the next author would pick up where it goes, and it's pretty short. It looks like a good palate cleanser. I thought it was short stories, but it's not short stories. It looks like it's one narrative that's just written in parts, so I look forward to reading this. This seems like something very different and will be a good palate cleanser to put in the middle of a lot of these big chunky books I have planned this year. All right, the last 4, I'll go over these very quickly. Just these are maybes. 3 of these are book series that I might just continue. I might not. Who knows? The first one would be Waylander by David Gemmell. It's a third book in the Drenai saga. Also on that list would be The Lays of Beleriand by J.R.R. Tolkien and Christopher Tolkien. Those, of course, is the third volume of the History of Middle-earth. And the 8th Elric novel is called Stormbringer by Michael Moorcock. So those are possibilities that might get in there when I get into March. And one book series I might start if I get ahead, depending on how things go. I may start the next big book series for me, which will be the Broken Empire trilogy by Mark Lawrence. So I may indeed be starting Prince of Thorns sometime March-ish if I get there. Anyway, let me know what you think about the channel changes as well as this new format for the TBR. Sorry for my voice, it's about to go, so let's wrap things up. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. You can also find me on Twitter and Goodreads. I'd love to interact with you there. As always, thank you for watching. Until next time, goodbye.